Hey, everybody. How are you? Good morning to you if you are on the West Coast. Good afternoon if you are in Europe. And welcome. Thank you for joining us today for this live stream where we're going to talk about whether or not AI is going to take your job with Tabnine. Tabnine is an AI assisted coding utility and extension for Visual Studio Code. No, they did not ask to come on our live stream. We asked them. We thought it was very cool. And I'm joined today by Yotam Shinan. Did I say that right? I think I got it
You
right.
almost got it this time, but I'm gonna give it to you. It's all right. It's all
Perfect.
right. No American person ever pronounced my name correctly, and it's all right. I take everything.
Well,
Hi.
you
Thank
didn't pronounce mine right either. So let me ask you, where are you? Where are you located?
Well, right now I'm talking to you from the old city of Jaffa, that's part of Tel Aviv, and I'm sitting in a very ancient building that was built exactly 12 years ago, and
That's the American
working from home
definition.
these days.
Yeah, that's the American definition of ancient, by the way. If our building is like 100 years old, we're like, well, I got to go see it.
Um,
We don't. Yeah.
you
So,
probably have you probably have dinosaurs there.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So, hey, folks that are joining us, where are you? Where are you joining us from? I mean, I'm amazed at how global we are these days. Drop in the comments and let us know. Represent. So, Yotam, tell us a little bit about Tab9 for those who aren't familiar, haven't seen your ubiquitous YouTube ad, which was my first introduction to Tab9. What is it exactly, and what do you do?
Okay. Well, first of all, as you already told the people here, my name is Yotam Shinan. I'm a developer advocate at Tabnine, and Tabnine is an auto completion tool that is AI based that integrates with Visual Studio Code with more IDs, but we're not going to talk about them today. And it helps every developer to speed up their coding workflow to make sure that they're not making any syntax mistakes, and it helps them not to leave their IDE while they code. They don't need to go online and search for that code chunk that many people already wrote before them. We have everything ready and set to go in our AI model, and it's super easy to install, super easy to use, and people love it.
So less context switching, more productivity because you can go faster. There's a video on your YouTube page which I thought was quite fascinating that I watched this morning, where it was like it's just you spinning up an Express server, and by spinning up I mean writing code. And one side has with Tab9, and one side has without Tab9. And the side with Tab9, of course, finishes way sooner, and then just sort of like trolls the other side with a comment of like, "I guess I'll get coffee now while you finish up." I mean, but it's generally 50% faster. It's an impressive demo. I think a lot of developers are skeptical, right? We're like, I don't know, do I need AI in my code? Or is this a value proposition that that I really need? I mean, how exactly does this work?
Well, hopefully by the end of this live stream, people won't think that we're trying to fool anyone. Our R&D team worked extremely hard and is working every day to sharpen our algorithm. But if you're asking why would you need to integrate AI into your coding, then the short answer is why not? I mean, AI is here, right? And it is already found its way into so many aspects of our lives. I mean, knowingly or unknowingly, we use AI almost everywhere, and the most obvious ones will be the most obvious encounters we have with AI will be in social media networks that sometimes people don't really like to think of as, yeah, that's a good thing for AI because it follows my life and it lets me and it sets my mindset about political issues and stuff. But forget about this. We use Tab9 in our media stream in Netflix and Spotify are like, they know what we want to watch and they make our the whole experience better. But AI also now is doing its first steps in places and industries that are not just the tech industry. I mean, for example, healthcare systems. We now have We now have AI models that scan through patients' medical files and can actually locate and sometimes even diagnose medical conditions that were missed by medical staff. So, and what I'm trying to say here, the point is that AI is not our enemy. It's a great help, and it's soon enough it will be almost inevitable to run any process, especially as a developer, without having some sort of AI integrated in your workflow.
Yeah, so I want to get to that because I think that's sort of a key question here is AI going to replace my job as a coder? I think part of people's reticence to adopt AI in any profession is whether or not is sort of an insecurity of whether or not it's actually going to replace us. But let's table that for a second. I mean, I think let's just get right into it, and maybe you can show us what it does and convince the folks that are here that are going to join this live stream recording later on that this is a new tool in your toolbox, and it might be the most powerful tool that you're going to have. And of course, you know, we at VS Code think so, because or otherwise we wouldn't be doing the stream. So show us what you've got.
All right. So first of all, you've asked a few things here, and I'll start by first answering your first question. Is AI going to replace us at some point? This is the main question that is raised every time that the AI topic is coming to the conversation. I think that the short answer is yeah. Eventually, yes. Eventually, AI will replace everything, but it's going to take a long time until it will take our jobs, sort of speak. One thing that AI is far from being able to manipulate, not to manipulate, but to do at this point, is it's not creative. I mean, there are 500 ways to achieve the same result when you're trying to get a task done. And as a human being, your mind is creative and can go through many places and can imagine and can improve the initial task. AI can get very specific missions and get them done by a set of rules that the developer will define. It will take many more years before AI will replace some of our jobs. So what I'm saying here to the folks who are watching us, you can still educate your children to become developers. They will have jobs, but your grandchildren might want to look for another position.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, but let's get to the demo. Show us what Tabnine does and what it can do for us today, and we'll get off of the sort of catastrophic impacts of AI on careers for a second. But we'll come back to that. Show us what Tabnine does today.
We'll come back to that. Okay, so I have some. Well, I wanted to brag in our Twitter channel, but let's go straight to the demo. So I'm going to show how Tabnine completes like very vanilla, very basic JavaScript, React, and natural text. Before I start the demo, I'll just say that Tabnine is based on OpenAI Labs GPT-2 model. That's an NLP, natural language processing method that understands English. So we took bits and parts of that GPT-2 model and we trained it on 2 million pages of GitHub of only high-ranked repositories. So now it understands English and code. And when you download Tabnine, by the way, it's super easy. You go to the extensions tab right here in VS Code. Just search for Tabnine. I'm sorry, I'm on my other language. Just search for Tabnine, and you go in here. I already have it installed, but you just press install, and that's it. You're ready to go. So let's start from Tabnine. A moment, I wanted to. Okay, we can start with this. So we have an array of objects here that we're going to use let's say in a function that runs in my shop app, and I have my Thursday discounts, and I want to like hard coded add more products that are discounted. So Tabnine already scanned what I have here, and it makes conclusions. So when I start type the next item, the first thing that it will offer me is something that is similar to what it already recognized from before. But I'm not looking to add another chocolate gum or chocolate ice cream. I want to add something else. So the item name this time will be, Burke, give me a name of an item that you want to see discounted in your grocery shop.
It's GOO space cluster. The greatest candy known to the human race.
Can you say it again? I only got you in the middle.
Goo cluster. So GOO.
GOO
space.
Okay.
GOO.
Yeah.
Two goos and then space cluster.
Clusters. Oh, cluster.
I'll have to send you one.
Google Cluster.
Phenomenal. Yes.
Okay, so Google Cluster will be discounted tomorrow, and the next thing we will need in this object is to understand if we have it in stock or not. But I think you're going to be disappointed because unfortunately we don't have it in stock. I'm so sorry about this. But if we did have it in stock, then we'll probably need to define the price and send some a very sketchy seller.
Hey, Yotam, real quick. Can I jump in here real quick? Could you zoom in maybe like 2 or 3 times?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Sorry.
I've disrupted
your flow. Okay, yeah. Get back to
it. Yeah, no worries. All right, so the next thing we need to define is what is the discounted price, and it's going to be, let's say it's going to be $1.99. I don't know how usually Google Cluster costs. But check out this thing now. This item has an ID, and as you can see, before I do this, my inventory IDs here, they have a sequence. It starts with the 03s and the 04, 05. So another thing that Tabnine can do is understand that I have a sequence here. I have a serial list of items that needs to go by order. So I just press IN. These are all the keystrokes that I typed in, and I already got the inventory ID, which is the next inventory ID, which is correct. That's one thing, and that is based on NLP. It reads English, it understands what's going on, and it helps me. Now, another thing that Tabnine can do is understand parts of the whole strings. For example, let's say that now I want to, one moment please. Let's say that I have an array of files here, of directories of files, and they're all quite unique. One of them is called quite unique file, a very unique file, extremely unique file, and nobody else has this unique file. And I want to create a function, a simple function that will filter out just one file out of the list. I don't want the whole directory. I just want the exact file. Okay. So I can do something like this. I can create a variable, and I will call it filtered. Let's call it filtered unique, right? Filtered unique file. Okay, and it will need to iterate through our unique data files. And I want it to filter. Sometimes IntelliCode comes in handy. So I want to filter out, not a function, sorry. Need to choose a file, and you can see the suggestions that I get here. This is quite accurate. And I want a file that includes just one of the files that are up there in the list. Let's go for the last one, that nobody has this file. See what happened here? I only typed NO. It already knows what I'm trying to get here. So it reads. So that's another magnificent capability of NLP, that it understands that I'm searching for a specific file. So it didn't look for the whole directory. It looked for the file that appears after the slash. Another thing that Tabnine can do is it can actually help us when we write, like, not just simple JS, but like real components, or in this case, React functional components. So this is going to be a little bit longer. I'm going to do just part of this. So as you can see, I have an almost ready to go functional component here. I imported React with 2 React hooks: use state, use effect, and I also imported Axis because I'm going to create an API call from a mock API to bring a list of country names. Okay. So I'm not going to talk too much at this point. I just want you to observe and see how many correct code completions I'm going to get while I write this. So the first thing I need is use effect, not just use effect, but also the right syntax with the arrow function. And the next thing I want to do is I need to define the fetch countries. So, because I'm going to get countries, right? So let's do fetch countries based on the fact that they already listed the countries and the setter and the set countries under use state. And this is going to be an async function. These are all Tabnine completions, by the way. And we will need this, and now we need to define the result. And the result will need to await for Axios. Correct. And let's bring we need to bring the API key. I have it here somewhere. Not the API key, I'm sorry, there you go. Okay. So after we have this, we can close it, and then we need to set the country. We need set countries, and they will need to get the result data. You can see that I'm barely typing in anything. Mostly Tabnine understands what's going on and completes me on the way. So I can go with this a little longer, but I want to show you more things that can be done. This will need to have just the query, and later on we just need to create the return function for rendering. But I will go forward because I think we can show more. Now this is my favorite part. Tabnine can read through your comments, through your to-dos, and help you get the result that you want according to the tasks that you wrote to yourself or you got from a colleague. This is something that we see in many coding workflows in companies. You just get a file with a bunch of to-dos, and you need to get it done. So let's see the first thing. So create a function that gets an integer as a parameter and returns a string. Name this function stringify me, please. Okay. So I guess we need to define this function, and we will call it stringify me, please. And it will probably get an integer, and it will need to return. Oh wait, we have curly brackets missing here, and it will just need to return I hope it will continue the whole thing, but it will need to return an integer string. Okay. Next thing that can be done. List down the months of the year inside an array. So I didn't do anything. The first thing that I get is const month, and you see what's going on here? But that's not enough. We need more, right? We have everything. We have everything. It took about 4 keystrokes. What are Julia's favorite colors? So let's create a const of colors and see if Tabnine knows any colors. Well, apparently it does. Doesn't know any more colors. Let's say purple. If I want more. Yeah, we have brown and orange. Now, write my personal details in an object. My name is Yotam. I'm 34 years old. My favorite color is dark blue, and I love the Matrix film. So what's going to happen here? So let's do I'm going to const me. And it's going to be an object made, first of all, of my name. That's right, it's Yotam. And my age, that's also correct, it's 34. And my favorite color is dark blue. And my favorite film is The Matrix. This is just a very, very tip of the iceberg of things that can be done with Tabnine. Most of the examples that I showed here are based on the algorithm understanding the user, understanding the developer that's currently working on it. But another thing that is beautiful about Tabnine is the fact that it comes with a bulk knowledge that was gathered from, as mentioned before, 2 million pages of GitHub. So when you're doing something that was done before you, you're trying to figure out a way to get your function to work, to get your API correctly. Tabnine will help you, will complete you through the parts that you are stuck in, since most of the code that you write, someone in a way wrote it before, and combined together, this is creating a very fast workflow.
So this is really fascinating. I think one of the things that tends to we got a couple questions here I'm going to get into, but one of the things that I'm realizing as I watch this is that a lot of times when I see these AI assisted coding demos, what it looks to me like is I'm like, you're just using IntelliSense. And so it's really hard to understand how much more powerful it is to have the right suggestion versus all the suggestions. And I think that that's something that the with Tabnine and without Tabnine video does really well. We do have a couple questions. I want to get right into them. So Matt has a question that I knew we were going to get, which is, how does this compare or relate to IntelliCode in, say, Visual Studio and in Visual Studio Code?
Okay, so Tabnine is textual and semantic based, while IntelliCode will usually I love IntelliCode, yeah, but it will usually offer you give you suggestions for code completions that are, first of all, that are based on one token, and are also what's the word for it? I'm sorry, my English isn't my first language. Sometimes I lose my vocabulary. But sometimes when you are using built-in methods, then IntelliCode will be there to make sure that you're using the right APIs and the right methods. Tabnine takes it another way with suggesting stuff that are not necessarily in the code documentation or in the current framework APIs. It has a vast code base knowledge that keeps on growing all the time with you as a developer while you write your code. Plus, it gets you completions that can be brought from other documentations, from repositories. I hope this answers the question.
It sounds like that's sort of the key thing is that Tabnine doesn't just know about your code, it knows about all of the code that looks like your code that's come before it, and that we're all basically doing the same thing, especially like in a React app. You're doing the same thing over and over again. You're creating a component, you're making an Ajax call. People use that word Ajax anymore? Anyway,
I don't think, not for the past 5 years.
Sorry, forget it. You're fetching data, you're rendering it, right? And we do the same things over and over. I think so that's fascinating. I think Lori asked a question that I was going to ask. So Lori, fantastic question. Yotam, how is it possible that in the future that instead of you having to create like the object, that you can just say, create an object with a first name is Yotam, my age is this, my favorite movie is this, and it just bloop and creates it for you instead of you having to type anything at all to create the initial object?
Before I answer this question, I have to say that as much as I would love to dwell into it and start a conversation about this, I am not an AI researcher, and there are people in Tabnine who have the tools and the education to answer it in an intelligent way. But I think that the answer is sitting right there, isn't it? The answer is yes. It will, with time, we will sharpen the AI capabilities to the point where we can already talk. We can already talk to Alexa. We can already talk to Siri, and it understands what we want them to do. And people are working on it all the time and making it better and better and better. Eventually, we will be able to talk to a component, tell it, I need a function that does X, Y, Z, make it happen, and there you have it.
So we're down to just 2 minutes. Let's see if we can get through some last ones. Ritesh said, does this help with HTML at all?
Yeah, of course. Definitely.
Nice. And what about data science? Python?
We work perfectly with Python. We have thousands of Python developers using Tabnine.
Outstanding. So let me sort of like, well, I'm going to leave with one thought, and then I want to let you throw it to people. And what can people do today? But I don't think that AI is going to replace your job, but I do think it's going to make it different in the sense that a lot of the routine tasks you don't have to do anymore. And I think that is sort of the power. Jobs don't go away; they just sort of change. And the question just is, what do they change into?
I can only agree with you. Definitely.
So, what should people do today to get started with Tabnine?
It's super easy. Go to your VS Code extensions tab, search for Tabnine, download it, and start being amazed of your own code.
That's awesome.
And make sure to leave a nice comment.
And bother Yotam on Twitter or Tabnine _, I think is the Twitter handle. They'd love to hear from you. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. Don't worry, at least for today, your job is safe. 20 years from now, who knows? No one could say. But Yotam, thank you also for joining us. And we'll see everyone in 2 weeks for the next VS Code release live stream.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.